Welcome the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Immigrants of Lebanon, His Excellency Gibran Bassil, and the Ambassador of Lebanon to the United States, His Excellency Gabriel Issa. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthems of the United States, Canada, and Lebanon, performed by tenor Amin Hashim and soprano Cynthia Samaha.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail, and the twilight's last gleaming?
Whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we
سهلنا والجبل منبت للرجال قولنا والعمل في سبيل الكمال كلنا للوطن للعلا للعلم كلنا للوطن
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your Master of Ceremonies for the opening session, Ms. Juliette Kayem.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Ambassador and Minister, it is an honor to be your MC this morning. My name is Juliette Kayem. I'm a professor at Harvard's Kennedy School of Government, a former Assistant Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, and also a CNN analyst on national security and foreign policy. Most importantly, I am the daughter of Lebanese immigrants. Most importantly. And so when the ambassador called me, I couldn't say no to such an opportunity to represent and to honor the diaspora that links our two countries of Lebanon, the US, and of course I should add Canada. In fact, when my family left Lebanon, half went to Montreal and half went to Burbank, California, and never did the two meet again, I guess. But I want to tell a little bit about my Lebanese story. My mother, in particular, came from a very strong Lebanese family that left Itanit about 60 years ago. She traveled with 9 brothers and sisters to America, and many of you know the immigration patterns at that time. Ended up in Cuba for a little while, not quite clear why that was, returned back to Lebanon, and then made their way first to Kentucky, where they worked in the horse industry, and then over to California, representing the very large Lebanese Southern California clan. And she, my Situ, raised these 9 kids by herself. And the age difference between my Situ and her eldest son, only 14 years, was much shorter than the age difference between the eldest son and her youngest child. And so I grew up under this shadow, sometimes shade, of this group of 9 brothers and sisters of my mother, 46 first cousins, their spouses, then their children, and their children's children. Our family reunions, much like yours, have name tags. And we grew up together in California. I ended up going to Harvard for undergraduate and never would return to California to live, except for live down here in Washington, D.C. for my political stints. And met a guy, as the case may be, and sort of braced him for what, he's American, braced him for what it would mean to enter a Lebanese family as a white guy. And because you have to pass a test, and that's, of course, the Situ test. So I take him to Encino, California, and my aunts and uncles lived basically on the same street, sort of within a couple blocks of each other, as cousins raising cousins, as the case may be. And Situ gave him the kubbe making test, which was, my husband failed. My future husband failed. She made him come into the kitchen and try to figure out how to make kubbe and other Lebanese dishes. He was game. He knew that he had to be game and to make good with her. But in the process of cooking, he spilled a whole bunch of stuff on himself. And of course, my Situ had to then show off her cleaning skills, and decided that she would take him to one of the houses next door so that he could change into pants where our luggage was and do his laundry, which I don't, I went with the flow. So we go to the house about 2 houses down, one of my aunt's houses, and unbeknownst to us, the alarm was on. At this stage, my situ is maybe 80, 85. She's short and had a good life, and so it does not look the part of someone who would trip a burglar alarm, but that's what we did, and she didn't remember what the code was, and so we waited for the armed guards to arrive, and we're standing there not looking like burglars. It's daytime, and all of a sudden I realized she's not there, and she comes back about a minute later with a Ziploc bag. Many of you will have family members like this, with her papers from both Lebanon and her journey to America, and then her proof of American citizenship in a Ziploc bag that she must have carried her entire life. And she holds it up, and she's, topping 200 pounds, and she's got the gold, I didn't never learn this, she's got the gold bangles and, everything, and she's telling them, these 2 armed guards who were not nervous about us, she says 2 words that were so overwhelming and poignant, and I think illustrative of how she felt and how all of us feel. She said, "I belong," with her Ziploc bag. "I belong," and started to show all of her papers from Lebanon and from the United States. And I think of that story a lot, about what it meant for her to be an immigrant and then to raise this family of, maybe a couple hundred now plus, and for all of us to not just be Americans, but to feel this tie to belonging somewhere else. And in this case, of course, it's Lebanon. And it's a sentiment that has driven me throughout my career, in particular in national security and at the Department of Homeland Security, as we struggle as a nation here on what belonging means and what it means to be a community like ours in America. And so I'm proud of the work that we do together, and the fact that all of us sitting here today can also say, "I belong." So I want to thank you very much for this opportunity to share that story. I'm not going to step aside. I will be here all morning with you and then return this evening. But I did want to say that unfortunately Congressman Darren LaHood could not make it this morning. If he's able to arrive sometime before, obviously we'll fit him in, that there was a call to vote on the Hill, and that's his day job, so to speak, and so we have to be respectful of that. So, but that means that we get to the main event sooner, and to welcome our host, Ambassador Gabriel Issa, and his wife Bernadette, and thank them for the opportunity of convening today. Before I introduce the ambassador, I do want to tell a little bit about him. He and I got to know each other as he started to invite me down here. As I said, I'm a professor up in Cambridge, and I do have to teach. And so I was grateful that I don't have classes on Friday, as are my students, and was grateful for the invitation. Ambassador Issa is the ambassador of Lebanon to the United States, obviously, and he presented his papers in January 24th, 2018. What's most important is that in this idea of belonging to both countries, prior to that appointment, the ambassador lived in Michigan, where he owned a multitude of businesses and was not just a business leader, but a civic leader in Michigan, and in particular in ensuring that the Lebanese and the Lebanese community were represented not just in the economic and business community, but throughout civic society in Michigan and around the country. It was that work that you can definitely read about, but it was that work that I think drew him into public service and also led to his appointment. We are incredibly grateful for his representation of Lebanon here in the United States, and as importantly, his representation of the United States in Lebanon. So, Ambassador, without further ado, thank you.
Thank you, Juliet. I really appreciate that she answered the call when we asked her to Emcee, and she came all the way from Boston. Good morning, everyone. I hope you had a good breakfast outside on behalf of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Immigrants, and under the patronage of our minister. I would like to welcome all of you to Washington, and also to the special convention which we call the Lebanese Diaspora Energy. Now, for the last couple months, many people would ask me, oh, you're having a convention about energy, oil and gas drilling. I would say yes and no. Yes, part of it will have a panel about oil and the new opportunities and in gas drilling and exploration in Lebanon. But no, it's not all that. It's only a small part of it. The meaning of this convention is for us to celebrate the energy of our own Lebanese people, the energy of every one of you. There is always positive and negative energy. Every one of you in here has shown positive energy, is probably most of you a success story in their accomplishment, in their commitment, and in their connection to Lebanon. And as our minister, this convention is the brainchild of our minister, and we do it all over the world. This is the North America version of this convention, which includes the USA and Canada. We are here to celebrate all of you, all of your successes, accomplishments, whether you are an official, a dignitary, a businessman, an artist, whatever. I can go on, and we have had many of Lebanese descent with all of these accomplishments since the turn of the 20th century. And we're here to celebrate you and to ask you not to forget your roots. We're good at celebrating as Lebanese, but the more important part is for you to remember your roots and to commit your successes to your roots, to helping Lebanon. And this is what this convention is all about. One particular group that the minister and myself is keen on celebrating and re-engaging with our community and Lebanon is our youth. And as you've seen today, there are many who are manning the floor, and we thank them for that. And the way I promised, and the way I promised to pay them for their work is I did teach them how to make homemade cheese. And you should have seen their excitement and energy while learning that. So now, as parents, you all should be proud they all can make cheese now. Also staying with the theme of energy and youth, we have a very young minister among us in here, our Minister of Environment, Fadi Jaisati, who has shown us a lot of energy I know we all complain, we have issues with our environment, but I have full faith in his capacity of fixing all these issues. If not during his term, at least to put us on the right track, and with the help, and I ask our whole diaspora to give him all the help he can, because we need someone energetic like him and to fix our environment. Now, speaking of the ultimate energy, like the Lebanese diaspora energy, is we have another minister among us who's not just full of energy, someone who doesn't sleep and doesn't let any of his diplomats or teams sleep, and I'm not going to thank him for that, but I thank him for all the other initiatives that he has taken on behalf of Lebanon. He has tons of initiatives, and I'm sure we'll see tons more in the coming years, but I'll specifically mention two that are relevant to our topic today. Number one, which is the diaspora. Number one, it's about the voting that he insisted, and he was very persistent in making happen, like the overseas voting of our diaspora. It happened for the first time, and I used to be one of them. For the first time, we had a chance to vote overseas. We had about 10,000 in the US and 10,000 in Canada, I think, who registered to vote. With his efforts and the efforts of the embassies and our diplomatic missions everywhere, hopefully, in the next time we will reach tenfold. We're hoping to reach 100, maybe 200,000, because we want the voice of the diaspora to be heard. And we'll make sure next time it will be heard. The other topic of importance is something he also was very persistent in pushing in Parliament, is the new law that allows Lebanese people of Lebanese descent to reclaim their citizenship without going through a long process in courts like it used to be. It's a simple procedural matter now. You can, if you can show proof that you have ancestry of Lebanese descent that were registered in Lebanon, then in a matter of few months you can regain your citizenship. And we encourage you to visit our missions. There are many NGOs and organizations helping in that, so we really urge you, if you know someone, to urge them to reclaim their citizenship, and we are here to help. Now, also, speaking of youth and energy, I have to mention our ever young President Michel Aoun. And the energy he has displayed all the time. And the last one he had in a very important initiative. It was his dream to make Lebanon a center for dialogue and peace. And he submitted a resolution to the UN, which was passed last week in a 165-2, if I'm not wrong, 165-2, vote. And this is a legacy that he will leave for generations to come, that Lebanon is not a country that promotes wars. It's a country that promotes dialogue, peace, and where diversity is practiced in action, not in words. So, for that, also, I would like to recognize our UN mission under the leadership of Ambassador Amal Mudallali, who made sure worked very hard with all our other diplomats all over the world to make sure this initiative was passed. Now, finally, many things went wrong in preparing this mishaps, I should call them. One of them today, like the Congress got called for a vote. Many of our dignitaries, they take their voting very seriously, couldn't make it. Hopefully one of them or two will be able to show up during the day. Many things. We have many moderators and panelists who are coming from Houston. Now they're stuck. Their flights, when the floods that are there, their flights keep getting canceled. We don't know who will make it or who will not make it. But anyways, we keep them in our prayers that they will stay safe and make it, if not today, tomorrow. But this is not going to stop us, and I apologize personally for any mishaps that might have happened, whether it was unforeseen or out of our control. But I want to say this convention will continue with a lot of energy, and like the Lebanese people, we can be subdued, we can be occupied, we can be burned down to the ground, but like always, like the phoenix, we will rise again. And lastly, I want to thank our host country, the United States. So I will say, long live the United States of America. Long live Canada, all our... And last but not least, long live Lebanon. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. We are going to spend the rest of the morning getting to know some distinguished guests who are here, who are going to speak for a few minutes and introduce themselves. Over the course of the day, you will also get to know them. It is important, or I guess essential, that I also remark on the substance of this conference. Through the course of the day, today and tomorrow, the political, economic, and geopolitical impacts of the energy industry between Lebanon, the U.S., and other countries involved will be explored and examined in all of these sessions. It's quite a group of people who will be attending and providing information about what they know. So I'm really thrilled to join you for the days ahead. Our next speaker is the Honorable Joseph Buhacker. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I tried it a couple times. And the reason why I tried a couple times is because my husband is also a judge, and I know that it matters because what judges do is so essential for the rule of law and for our understanding of what it means to live in countries under the rule of law. I should say specifically what court he's in, of course, the circuit court judge of the 10th Judicial Circuit in Alabama. So for those of you who do not know the different judicial systems in the United States, this is a key court in a state in Alabama that examines issues regarding, of course, conflicts between the government and people and the government and itself, and constitutional issues related to state and federal government. Judge Buchacher served as a judicial law clerk to the judges of the 11th Judicial Circuit in Florence, Alabama, and worked in private practice from 1980 to 2000 until he became a judge in January of 2001. He is active in the American Bar Association, the Birmingham Bar Association, and of course the Circuit Judges Association. So without further ado, I will introduce the Honorable. Is he here? Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you very much for that introduction, and I'm just so proud to be here. I want to thank Ambassador Issa for inviting me, for the embassy staff for having this wonderful event today. Thank you very much, and Mr. Foreign Minister too. Thank you very much for being here. I of course want to extend my thanks to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Lebanon, General Michel Aoun, for this. This is the decree that he signed, which restored my Lebanese citizenship. And not only did he restore it to me, but he gave it to my children as well. So the citizenship will pass down from me to my children. The last one of us to have that citizenship in my branch of the family was my Jiddi Abdallah, and his last name was not Buhaker, it was Abu Akar. That's the Lebanese name, Abu Akar, which means, I think it means the father of a lot of agitation. So when our family came to America, they gave us this name Buhaker, which, as you can see, people still have a hard time with Buhaker. And I don't know, in Ellis Island, I guess they thought in Alabama they would trip over Abu Akar, so they give us Buhaker, and they still trip over Buhaker. But I want to tell you a story about my Jiddi. My Jiddi was born in Wadi Araish, which is right near Zahli, in the year 1880. And I say Araish because in Zahli they say Araish, they don't say Araish. He married my Sitti, Nasa Stefan, in 1912 at a little Maronite church, Knisi Mariez, in the Wadi. Then right after the wedding, they set across Mount Lebanon, which was a long, arduous journey. And they booked a shippage on a freight ship to come to the United States. They came as steerage. They took the scenic route to Athens, Palermo, Genoa, Barcelona, through the Straits of Gibraltar, to Rotterdam, and finally to New York City. Then they caught a train and they went to Birmingham, Alabama. Why Birmingham, Alabama? From one edge of the world to the other. It's because his oldest brother was there. In 1913, my first uncle was born, Ami Najib. In Zahli, he's Najib. In Beirut, he's Najib. But, you know, where's Zahli? And in 1914, my dad was born. In 1914, my father, yes. In 1924, Jiddi had accumulated enough money, an equivalent of about $1 million in today's dollars. He had 3 more children, so they had 5 of them. It would have been 6, but one died in the influence of 1919. And they went back to French Mandate, Lebanon, bought a piece of land. And in 1925, he had his 5th child, and his 5th son, his 6th child. And he tried to support the family on Mount Lebanon as a farmer, which was difficult, given how easy it was in America. So in 1925, after about 6 months, he decided to come back to America. So he took what money he had left, bought a house, bought his store, restarted his business, sent for the family, and they all came back to America. In 1931, my last uncle was born. In 1937, my grandfather fell ill. And he didn't know what he had, but he thought if I could only get back to Lebanon, only smell the mountain air of Zahli, he would get better. What he had was diabetes, and he didn't know it. On the way over, he suffered an injury to his foot. He didn't know he had an injury because you have peripheral neuropathy. He developed blood poisoning, and 6 weeks after he got back home to Lebanon, he died in 1937. He left in America his 41-year-old widow and 7 children. The oldest was 24, the youngest was 6 years old. And that he was the breadwinner, the head of the family, and they lost him. So they had to hang together. They had to persevere. Things go wrong, just like the ambassador said, things happen. But, they're Lebanese. They know how to make their way. And they persevere. When our generation came along about 10 years later, they gave us our identity as Lebanese. And in Alabama, that is not easy. Alabama has its own culture. But they always told us we're Lebanese. And my dad would always tell us, those who deny their heritage have no heritage. And I thought that was pretty original. But it's from Khalil Gibran. Just as a nation that forgets its past cannot find its way to its future, so too for an individual, without knowing where you came from, what your identity is, you can have no way of knowing where you're going, and you can get lost. But we didn't. We were raised on stories about the Wadi, about the Chrome, the farmland above the Wadi, about the Burdani River and how it springs from a rock, and about the Abu Akar ancestral home, which they said is at the top of the mountain, the highest one. And I never saw it until 1981. I was 27, fresh out of law school, and had a chance to go, so I went. And I went to Lebanon. It's my first time. My first impression of the country at the airport was of the people. It was for the first time in my life, at age 27, everybody looked like me. Now in Alabama, as you can imagine, nobody looks like me except my family. But here in Lebanon, everybody looked like me. I thought they were all my cousins. But they were, I felt like, and I've said it many times, like a fish going back to the ocean to go back, and I'd never been there before. So I went to the Wadi and I saw it. I saw the river that springs from the rock. I saw Majid Abdallah's grave. And in fact, they let me go inside, and I saw his remains. And I saw the ancestral home of the Buhacker family. And indeed, it is at the top of the mountain. But it's also the last house in the village. And I said, well, it's at the top. They said, no, it's not at the top. It's at the end. Because your family raises so much cane that for the rest of the village to have peace, we had to put them on the end. So they did. Also in 1981, I met my bride. She is an extraordinary girl. She had fought in the war, and she was reputed to be able to disassemble an M16 grenade launcher in the dark, blindfolded, put it back together, and fire it. Now you'd have to be impressed with that. And I was very impressed. After knowing her for 10 days, I asked her to marry me. And after 3 days of deliberations, and she was on her rosaries all 3 days, she decided, okay, she'll take a chance. And so we set a date for June 15, 1982. It was a long, cold winter. But on May 31st of 82, I left for Lebanon. About that same day, our neighbors to the south decided to do the same thing. And they got to the airport before I did. So I was stuck in Europe, found my way to Cyprus. They said if you can get to Limassol, maybe a captain will get you across to Beirut. I spent about a week there, found a captain, Captain Yesby, and he had a freight ship. He would only take 25 people. And I'm a lawyer, so I talked my way onto that boat, and we crossed over at night. In the morning, as the sun was coming up over Mount Lebanon, we saw Beirut under attack, plumes of smoke rising. And the captain said we can't land there, so we had to go to Juni Bay. He dropped anchor in Juni Bay. Some guys in some fishing boats came out to pick us up, took us to shore. I found my brother-in-law. He was a captain in the Lebanese army at Yardazi, and we had to find our way to the other side of Mount Lebanon. Well, the war was hard. Dahalbayr was closed. Tarshish, closed. So we had to go to Latlut, north. And there's not much of a road in Latlut. But we found our way down to Dair Ahmar, down the Bekaa Valley to Furzal, Malad, to the turnaround at Zahli Boulevard, Casino Burdani, Wadi. I was 3 days early. And I told my wife, I'm here. She said, well, how did you get here in the middle of a war? I said, I told you I'd be here on the 15th. I'm here 3 days early. Well, she put the wedding off to the 26th, so we got married on the 26th. The war was hot at that time. There were airplanes fighting each other in the mountains above us. And, you know, most weddings have fireworks. We did too. It was anti-aircraft fire going up all around us. On the day of the wedding, there was an airplane crashed in the cherry orchards. We didn't know which field had been hit, but one of them had been hit. But in the middle of all that, we got married. And I'm sure that the occupation army that was up in that farmland looking down on us having a wedding in the middle of the war thought we were all quite insane. But we did it. Why is that? It's typically Lebanese. Life goes on. The war did not end the life of the country or of the people. And we can have a celebration of hope and of the future to come, which is what a wedding is, even under shells and the bombs of the war. Just like Majid Abdal, after the wedding, we crossed Mount Lebanon, we had a border freight ship, and came to America. And we did all that in 1982, 70 years to the day, after Majid and Siti stood in the same place, in the same church, and got themselves married. So that's my story. It is, and whether, for those of us in the diaspora, whether we're in America, or Brazil, or Canada, or France, or Australia, or Africa, the story is very familiar and is not that extraordinary. Much of who we are and the successes that we have found all over the world is due to our identity as Lebanese. Conservatively speaking, there are 10,339,801 Lebanese living outside of Lebanon, with 8.5 million in South America alone, 500,000 in America and the United States, 750,000 in Australia, and almost 300,000 in Europe, not to mention Africa and the Middle East. With all that Lebanon has given to each and every one of us in our individual lives and in our families, there comes a time when we must give back. We should follow the example of Ambassador Issa here, who was living in Michigan when I first met him years ago, when he became active in the diaspora, and now he serves the Lebanese government. He sets a great example for us all, Mr. Ambassador. The war and the occupation cost much to Lebanon in terms of the destruction to the country, to the war casualties that all of our people suffered. But the longest term cost that we have had in Lebanon is the dispersal of our people all over the country, all over the world, away from our country. Reciprocation is a fine Lebanese custom. Lebanese expatriates have been a blessing to the communities that they have adopted as their new homes. In Alabama, my home, they renewed a community that was 4 generations old and fading under the influence of assimilation. The culture was being lost until the new arrivals came and revived it, so that now we have Lebanese cultural and food festivals. First generation Lebanese are working hand in hand with 3rd and 4th generation Lebanese. There is a renewed and a refreshed interest in our Lebanese identity among our people. We have received much from the Lebanese expatriates, and now it is time to return it back to Lebanon. It is the Lebanese way. And so I commend the Foreign Minister, Gibran Bassil, for the effort that he is making to gather the scattered Lebanese family and to bring it back home and to restore it back to the Lebanese. It is a long journey, Mr. Minister, and I'm so proud that you're doing it. But it is time to return the faith, the devotion, our talent, our energy that we have developed in the countries of our birth, back to the source of it all, back to the country of our heritage, back to Lebanon. I could quote to you the famous call to action by the late President John F. Kennedy, that we should ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. But even that was borrowed from Khalil Gibran, a Lebanese. And I found his exact quote. He said, "Are you a person asking what your country can do for you, or a zealous one asking what you can do for your country? If you are the first, then you're a parasite. If you're the second, then you're an oasis in the desert." In Lebanon, there are no deserts. Lebanon is an oasis in the Middle East. It has the greatest resource of all. Not its water, not its oil and gas, it's its people. Why is it that Lebanon can be eaten but never digested? It's just a small piece. Why? Because it's more than her mountains and her rivers and her valleys and her shores. Lebanon is her people who will never be dominated by anybody. That's what Lebanon is. The war and the occupation drove our people away, but now is the time to return and to rebuild. And so it is in that spirit that I very proudly reclaim my grandfather's citizenship. And I remember the refrain from the old Lebanese song, which I love so much. And I hope I can say it in Arabic, because I don't speak Arabic that well. But it goes this way. Reja, Reja, Yatamma.
That was an amazing speech and story, Judge, and we thank you for being here, and congratulations on your new citizenship. The next speaker is the Honorable Undersecretary of Energy for Science, Paul Dabar. He's the Undersecretary for Science at the Department of Energy, and in that capacity, he's not only relevant to the discussion today, but he serves as the department's principal advisor on fundamental energy research, energy technologies, and science, driving this mission through programs in the nuclear, gas, and oil industries. We are very grateful that he is here. It's a tremendous job with a tremendous responsibility, and grateful to finally meet you. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you, Juliet, for that introduction. And I'd like to first start by thanking the ambassador and his wife for regularly inviting me to dinner, which is wonderful to be in this town, to have friends, given I'm an appointee and only here for a short period of time and from New York. And so my family's not here Monday through Friday before I go back. And I appreciate the regular invitation. So thank you very much for your hospitality. I'd like to thank the ministers who've come a long way to reach out to us. Obviously, I think engagement across borders is highly critical, and they're taking the effort to come here and reach out to everyone. So thank you very much for being here on behalf of the U.S. government. I'll get into it a little bit later, but my family was from Sidon. And I'll talk by way of Alexandria, a typical Middle Eastern story. And I'll talk a little bit about how that's affected me and how that culture has driven me in my career, and how it drives what I actually do every day. Before I do that, I'll talk a little bit about myself and a little bit about what we do at the department, which most people don't understand, and how it kind of layers into a little bit of my background. And so I was a nuclear submarine officer. I ran a reactor and went around the world, including at the North Pole. I ended up going into the energy and the tech industry, and I went to Wall Street, where I was there for a number of years, including running a large trading business in commodities. And currently I'm Undersecretary for Science. Most people have no idea what that is, or to a large degree what the Department of Energy does. But my day job is running the National Lab Complex for the United States. The National Lab Complex was started by Albert Einstein and Enrico Fermi and Robert Oppenheimer in a certain program called the Manhattan Project. And we inherited the Manhattan Project. And currently I run the national 17 location National Lab Complex. It's the largest R&D organization in the world. I have 60,000 people just in that portion of what I run, doing research on broad areas that impact humanity. And it is the largest generator of Nobel Prize winners in the world. As a result of this, at many places that many of you may have heard of, just from a history lesson, if you're not familiar with it, but Los Alamos and Sandia and Oregon and SLAC at Stanford and Lawrence Berkeley and Lawrence Livermore and Oak Ridge National Lab and many others. We do a lot of different things besides generate Nobel Prizes. We run the largest supercomputers in the world. We help NASA develop technologies for getting to Mars, work on antimatter. And Ambassador, you were joking about, I think, negative energy. So we actually do a lot of work in dark energy, trying to figure out exactly why the universe expands like it does, because we can't identify all the energy in the world, in the universe, that causes the billions of galaxies to expand into space at the pace that they do, and we try to back calculate how that actually works. So hopefully we'll uncover at least that part of negative energy, dark energy, that we do. So my last name, my family came from Sidon. We were part of a family of traders around various commodities, around cotton, around various other things. It was a big shipping family, had a shipping business in Sidon, in Beirut, and in Alexandria. And my family kind of spread across the Eastern Mediterranean during the time frame of the British and so on, and exporting a lot of commodities throughout Europe and the rest of the world, and managing that. I learned a lot from my father, who immigrated here in the 60s, about how to work in international markets, how to get deals done, how to negotiate, how different cultures each are unique in their own way. And ultimately he was in the energy sector, so how that effectively happened on a cross-border basis. It was a regular, wherever we lived in the world as we moved around, he basically taught me how he negotiated transactions, whether in Iraq or Iran or Abu Dhabi or Venezuela on energy deals. And I got to meet a lot of people and learn from him the sort of things that you learned in the market, in the local town, on negotiating every little thing that you did, and how that can be expanded upon to much broader issues. And obviously it has an impact on what I do now. It has an impact on what I did running a very large commodity trading business for the largest bank in the United States. As you kind of think about all of that and how this affects me every day, a large part of the history of Lebanon was about exploration. You go back to the days of Phoenicia and Carthage and how the world spread all across the Mediterranean, coming from what is now today Lebanon. And every day I spend looking at exploration today. It is my everyday job. It is actually the core of what I do. So whether we're looking at how to get people to Mars, I do that on a regular basis, about how we deploy robots to Mars, how we do the Mars 2020, where we're just about to send things to Mars, to lay out what's there, what we're doing to help on the moon, whether we're trying to figure out how antimatter works. Basically every day and almost every meeting is about exploration. And that is an important part of a very long history of the culture of Lebanon that's a part of that. Second thing is about international collaboration. A large part of what I do every single day is how to actually do that on an international basis. When we do things at CERN in Geneva, where we help discover the Higgs boson, or what we're working on for various different things around Mars, whether we're looking at how quarks and gluons come together and neutrinos, frankly, they're so darn large that international collaboration is key. So the sort of culture that Lebanon brings you brought me up in my family, where every day was about international collaboration, how we can work together, what people need to bring to the table in order to look at these amazing things that can be discovered, is obviously incredibly important. And then the final thing that I would talk about that I think is important, and it comes from obviously the history of and the current situation in the Middle East, is that I do work at the Department of Energy. And so beyond antimatter and dark energy and dark matter and exploration of Mars, we obviously deal with the energy sector. And the energy sector in the Middle East runs like a spine through the Middle East. It drives national security policy. It drives how we look at various things. We were just in Egypt, where it was an international collaboration of all the different energy driving countries. And obviously, there's a significant amount of new exploration going all the way from Egypt through Lebanon up to Turkey and Cyprus, which has all been discovered. And it's in part been discovered because of innovation here in this country that we've been able to export to the world, and working with other countries to try to see about how new innovation can be used for energy security. And we are actually a big part of trying to make certain that energy security, which has been a challenge for Lebanon and a challenge for a lot of the other countries in the region, about how we can help Lebanon and the rest of the countries around the world to try to do that better and to try to get energy security. Obviously very key what's been happening in the Gulf this last week, and it's been a highly important aspect of what we've been doing about freedom of navigation and freedom of trade. And so I think if you step back and you think about that, you think about where my family came from, coming from Sidon, learning about trade, how you need to work internationally across borders, how do you work together, obviously, and obviously my day job of exploration. Those are things that are run deep within the culture of Lebanon for literally millennia. And I think it's exported certainly through my family and through everything that I've done. So thank you. That's a little bit of my story. And
couldn't be better. Thank you, Undersecretary. This idea of exploration animating the morning. We are bumping up against some time issues, and we do not want to take any time away from the foreign minister. So I am going to be quick because we've all spoken about him and welcome him to the podium. Incredibly grateful for the work that you've done for the country, ours and yours, and for bringing us all together in this community of nations that means so much for the stability, safety, and exploration in the years ahead. So welcome and up to the podium, and we welcome you here. Thank you.
الضيوف الكرام، سيداتي سادتي، أيها اللبنانيون، نجتمع اليوم في LDE المؤتمر الرابع للطاقات اللبنانية المنتشرة في أمريكا الشمالية وال15 في العالم، على أرض الأحلام، الأرض التي كانت لا زالت تستقبل كل طالب علم وكل صاحب طموح. هذه الأرض التي لم تكن تسأل يوما أحدا من أي لون هو، أو من أي دين هو، أو من أي وطن هو. استقبلت الجميع ومنحتهم الفرص للنجاح. والنجاح صفة تترافق مع اللبناني، فهو صاحب جينات موروثة من أجداده الذين لم ينتظروا أبدا الصدفة أو الحظ ليطرق أبوابهم، بل كانوا قبل شروق الشمس وبعد صلاة صغيرة يتسلقون الجبال ويحفرون الصخر ليجعلوا منه تربة خصبة، أو كانوا يبحرون في مركب من صنع أيديهم ليلجوا أعماق المحيطات الكبيرة لاكتشاف أراضٍ جديدة واحتضان حضارات واعدة. هذا اللبناني حزم حقيبته وتحمل مخاطر السفر وصعوبة الغربة والبعد عن الأهل والأصدقاء، فوصل إلى شواطئ أمريكا وحل في الشرق والغرب وفي الشمال والجنوب وفي الوسط الأمريكي، وساهم بصعود صناعة السيارات في ديترويت، وفي استخراج النفط في تكساس، وفي تطور الطب في كليفلاند، وفي وصول ناسا ومعها الإنسانية إلى القمر، وساهم في تكوين السيليكون فالي في كاليفورنيا، وفي ولادة الرابطة القلمية في بوسطن، فكان فكر جبران خليل جبران وشعر إيليا أبو ماضي، وأثبت أنه ناجح في كل مضمار، وأنه المبدع والمفكر والخلاق. يا أبناء اللبنانية، أنتم اللبنانيون التجار منكم والمهندسون والمقاولون والمدراء والأكاديميون والمصممون أحببتم الولايات المتحدة كما لبنان، واندمجتم في مجتمعها خير اندماج، فتحت أيديها لكم فحضنتكم وحضنتموها، وفرت لكم الفرص فاستغليتموها إلى أقصى الحدود، حافظت لكم على عاداتكم اللبنانية وعلى حقكم باستعادة جنسيتكم فاستعيدوها. عشتم لبنانيين في الغربة وحولتموها إلى وطن ثان لكم، فحافظوا على بلدكم الأول واحضنوه، فلبنانكم وطن مبارك ونحن نعيش فيه، ولو لم نكن كاملين إنما نعيش تحت راية المثل العليا ولو لم تكن مكتملة. اليوم دوركم كبير هنا، ومساهمتكم واضحة في ازدهار أمريكا، ولكن وطنكم الصغير يفتخر بكم، وهو يواجه التحديات على أبواب مئوية لبنان الكبير، وبحاجة إلى كل جهد للانتقال إلى مئويته الثانية معافى. دوركم كبير هنا، ويجب أن يكون كبيرا في لبنان أيضا، وأن تكونوا واثقين فيه غير مترددين. حلمكم في أمريكا لم يكن قصة خرافية من قصص والت ديزني، بل كان طريقا شاقا مليئا بالأشواق، واستحقيتم أن تعلنوا في نهايته: لقد صنعنا مصيرنا. وعلى لبنان أن يصنع مصيره من خلالكم وخلالنا. واللبنانية اللي بنتي وهي رابطة انتمائكم تتطلب المحافظة عليها، وهي تطلب تصويتكم في الانتخابات النيابية المقبلة، واستعادتكم لجنسيتكم لكي تحافظ هي على مفهومها الحضاري. إلا أن فرصة استعادة الجنسية ليست وقتا متاحا إلى ما لا نهاية، فالقانون كلفنا سنوات من النضال لإصداره، وهو محدود في الزمان. وقلت لكم سابقا أن لبنان بحاجة إليكم، فهل فكرتم يوما أنكم أنتم بحاجة إليه أيضا؟ هل أنتم واعون أن مئات الآلاف من الغرباء يكافحون لاكتساب ما ليس حقهم؟ يسعون للحصول على الجنسية اللبنانية ويستعملون اللبنانيين لذلك، وهم لن يحصلوا عليها، لأنهم غير مستحقين لها. أنتم المستحقون. هم لن يحصلوا عليها لو مهما جاهدت وكالات دولية ودفعت دول من ورائها بكل طاقاتها لتجعلنا نقبل أن يحل اللاجئون والنازحون مكانكم بدلاء عن أصحاب الحق الشرعي والطبيعي. ولن نقبل مهما زادت الضغوطات ومهما اندس المندسون، لن نقبل عنكم بديلا، ولكن عليكم أن تقدموا وتستعملوا حقكم وتحصلوا الجنسية لكم ولأولادكم. أيها اللبنانيون، كلكم تعرفون المصاعب التي فرضتها الأزمة السورية علينا، فحربها تحمل لبنان الكثير منها. أكثر من 1.5 مليون نازح على أراضيه، وأكثر من 1000 مخيم عشوائي بين بلداته، وأكثر من 30 مليار دولار خسارة في اقتصاده، ناهيك عن التطرف والإرهاب الذي استطاع الجيش اللبناني واللبنانيون الانتصار عليه. كل هذه العوامل أنهكت الاقتصاد اللبناني المتعب أساساً من السياسات الخاطئة والفساد، ودفعت المؤسسات العالمية لتخفيض تصنيفه الائتماني. فلا يمكن لناتج محلي أن ينمو من دون وجود لعامل محلي، ولا يمكن لاقتصاد بلد واحد أن يؤمن حياة شعبين، ولا يمكن لسوق عمل واحد دفع بآبائكم وأجدادكم للهجرة بسبب صغره أن يتحمل عمال دولتين. لذلك لا يمكن لهذا الواقع أن يستمر بعد عقد واحد إلى عقدين، وعلى لبنان تطبيق العودة التدريجية للنازحين إلى بلادهم. ولا يقنعنا أحد أن ظروف العودة لم تتحقق بعد، فهي تحققت. هي تحققت، واسألوا إردوغان عنها وعن الاتحاد الأوروبي إن لم تصدقوا، واسألوا وزير داخلية ألمانيا عن صفة النازح عندما يعود إلى بلده، واسألوا الرئيس ترامب عن المكسيكيين وعن كل النازحين إلى بلاده. يا أبناء اللبنانية، دوركم كبير كأمريكيين متحدرين من أصول لبنانية لحمل قضية لبنان في كل المحافل السياسية الأمريكية، وشرح حقيقة لبنان وأهميته. فهو لم يعتدي يوما على أحد، بل هو محب للسلام ويريده، وهو قام بواجباته الإنسانية والأخلاقية والقانونية كاملة تجاه الشعبين الفلسطيني والسوري. واليوم أصبحت العودة ضرورية، ولن نرضاها سوى آمنة وكريمة، ولن نرضى أن يبقى مواطنون في الخارج فيما جيراننا هم في الداخل. ودوركم هو أكبر في الاقتصاد، فكلما استهلكتم ما هو لبناني تعززون صادراتنا وتحمون صناعاتنا وتخففون عجز ميزاننا التجاري. زوروا لبنان للسياحة وللاستجمام، للعودة إلى جذوركم وإلى مسقط رأس آبائكم. زوروه فتفهموا أكثر من أنتم وتتوضح أكثر هويتكم. فمهما اختربتم ومهما اندمجتم ومهما ابتعدتم تبقى جيناتكم لبنانية، وتبقى حماستكم مشرقية، ويبقى في داخلكم فينيقي ركب الأمواج بحثا عن الفرص. تذكروا رحلة آلاف السنين وكل المساهمات التي قدمها لبنان كهدية للإنسانية، والتي تجعل منه البلد الحقيقي للحوار الإنساني السلمي. عودوا إلى أصولكم، فمن لا أصل له ولا جذور تبقى حياته سطحية فارغة من عمق التاريخ وعبقه. كونوا كأرز لبنان متجذرين في أرضكم ومتشبثين في انتمائكم إلى اللبنانية، لبنتي. وحده لبنان يجمعنا وهو فوق كل انتماء آخر، فشعب من دون أرض يظل لاجئا، وأرض من دون شعب تبقى مشاعا. ها نحن نعايش مأساة الشعب الفلسطيني منذ أكثر من 70 عاما، ومأساة الشعب السوري منذ 8 سنوات، ولا حل لهم ولنا إلا بعودتهم وعودتنا إلى أوطاننا والجذور، جذورنا في اللبنانية المشرقية العربية. أيها اللبنانيون، لا توطين يفرض علينا وينزع عنا إنساننا، ولا صفقة عقارية تفرض علينا وتنتزع منا أرضنا، بل نحن نفرض حقنا بالحياة المشتركة والحرة على أرضنا، مندمجين إفراديا أينما حللنا، ودامجين إفراديا من أردنا. نحن عشاق سلام ورواد تنوع وطلاب انفتاح. تاريخنا تسامح، حاضرنا تعايش، ومستقبلنا تآخٍ. مسلمين ومسيحيين ويهود وآخرين عشنا معا لقرون، ونستطيع العيش معا لدهور لاحقة إن توفرت لنا إدارة العيش معا وابتعدنا عن الأحادية ورفض الآخر. نحن صانعو إبداع ونجاح. تذكروا إن نسيتم أن حسن كامل الصباح ولد في النبطية في جنوب لبنان عام 1894. درس في الجامعة الأمريكية في لبنان، ودرس في جامعة ماساتشوستس في أمريكا، وامتلك أكثر من 40 براءة اختراع في الكهرباء. ومنذ أسبوع تمت إضافة أسماء مجد هيني وحسن بدران وهادي زين الدين إلى لائحة الشرف في موقع فيسبوك، وهم في 21 من العمر. يأتي هذا في وقت يسيطر فيه العالم الافتراضي على العالم الواقعي. والتساؤل الذي يطرح نفسه: هل سيحرم هؤلاء الشباب من أن يحصلوا على فرص نجاحهم بسبب أسمائهم في ظل تصاعد التطرف والخوف من الآخر؟ وقد نسي كثيرون جملة قالها الرئيس فرانكلين روزفلت. قال: لنتذكر دائما جميعنا، أنت وأنا خاصة، أننا متحدرون من أولئك المهاجرين والثوريين. نعم، نحن ثوريون ولن نقبل بالظلم. أنتم هجرتم بلدكم بحثا عن الحرية، ولن نسكت نحن عن نقص في الحرية في بلدنا. لن نقبل أن يمنع عنا حرية الوجود في بلدنا من لجأتم أنتم إليه بحثاً عن الحرية في بلده. لن نقبل بالظلم ضدنا نحن الذين نعيش للتنوع لصالح من يعيش للأحادية. نحن راكمنا الحضارات في أرضنا وصدرنا التنوع إلى أراضي المعمورة. نحن راكمنا الحضارات في أرضنا وصدرنا التنوع إلى أراضي المعمورة، ولن نرضخ لأحادية دولة أو منظمة. مبدعون عاشوا لبنان أو شموا رائحة لبنان أو تذوقوا طعم لبنان ورووا قصصا وأحلاما ما كانت لتكون وتكتب لولا ميزة وفرادة لبنان. حافظوا على لبنان قبلة نجاح ووجهة زيارة وسياحة ومكانا لفريضة صلاة وعبادة. عيشوا اللبنانية وركزوا على مفهوم جديد للبنان: أرض القداسة ومكان للحج لجميع الأديان وبيئة رائعة للسياحة الدينية ومنتجع تأمل للسياحة البيئية. أما نحن فسنبقى نعمل لكل السياحات الصغيرة الجميلة في لبنان، والأفعال الصغيرة مجتمعة يمكن أن تحدث فرقا. فنحن لن ننتظر أو نستمع لأي كلام يستهلك وقتنا عبثا أو يؤخر جهودنا، أتى من داخل الحدود أو خارجها، أتى بشكل إغراءات أو ضغوطات، بل سنستمر بالعمل من أجل منتشرين في وجه كل الصعاب وبناء الحجر تلو الحجر من دون كلل، مستذكرين عظيما من هذه الأمة الرئيس جون كينيدي الذي قال: عندما يبدو أن كل شيء يسير ضدك تذكر بأن الطائرة تقلع عكس الريح وليس معه. أهلي في الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية وكندا، أدعوكم لتكونوا معنا في تموز 2020 في LDE بيروت لنحتفل كثرا بالذكرى المئوية الأولى لإعلان دولة لبنان الكبير. لبنان محفور في عمق التاريخ البشري وسيبقى شعلة مضاءة في مستقبل الإنسانية. لبنان أحبكم وأنتم أحببتموه، ووجودكم هنا اليوم دليل محبة وانتماء. اضربوا بجذوركم عميقا في أرض لبنان لتظهروا عطاء أينما حللتم، ولا تكونوا شوكة كما غيركم في خاصرة من استضافكم. الوفاء والعطاء أنتم، الطاقة الإيجابية أنتم، أحلى صورة للبنان أنتم. عشتم، عاشت اللبنانية وعاش لبنان.
Thank you, Mr. That was a remarkable speech and a remarkable reminder of what draws us all together. We will be finishing up this morning with a special ceremony that I am particularly glad I'm here for. We would like to bring the judge back up on stage. I think you can guess what this is. This is the citizenship document. First time received for the judge. as he described in his long journey. An award from the Embassy. Congratulations, Judge. Thank you. We are going to move straight to the next panel, which will be up here on politics. So thank you all for being here this morning. It's been a pleasure being your MC, and I will see you in the hours to come. Thank you.